So here we're going to measure the mass of your block. Remember, when you use these, you want to make sure that this is lined up exactly at the 0 mark. As a matter of fact, before I started the video, I had to make some adjustments to make sure we were starting out at 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the block here. And you notice that now it is slid up. So we need to adjust things. Please remember, you always adjust the biggest mass first. So you slide this over, and we see if you're at 100, it's too much. So it's going to be less than 100. So you slide that back to 0. Remember, you got to make sure they're in the notches. It's pointing exactly at the number. So now we go ahead and say, try 30. 30 is not enough. 40, not quite enough. But I know if I go to 50, it's going to be too much. So I slide it back to 40. And now we just need to go ahead and do a little bit of fine tuning. Let's see if we can get it over here so you can see the whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and scoot this over a little bit and see how that lines up. And that looks like it's pointing exactly at it. I will try to zoom in just a little bit. So now you've got all your numbers. Go ahead and make your go ahead and get your measurement for your mass. So as we take the measurements of the metal block here, we can measure the length, width, and height. And really, it doesn't matter which side. You can say that's the height. You can say that's the height. You can say that's the height. It doesn't matter as long as you get all 3 different sides. So let's go ahead and get these measurements. If we get this in here, let's get it closer so you can see. And remember, we want to get that line exactly at 0. So lined up exactly at 0. So now you've got right here. So there's your reading for one side. If I check a different side, again, get that exactly at 0. There is your, right there, there we go. There's your second reading. And then finally, your third reading would be this side being measured. And if we get it exactly right, there you go. Let me see if I can move that so it's a little bit easier. There we go. I think that's easier for you to see. Make sure we're exactly where we need to be. All right, so there's your third side. So now you have your length, your width, and your height. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and measure the volume so we can get the volume displacement of the piece of metal. Now, if you remember, we said if you don't measure at eye level, you're not going to get a reading. So if you're all the way down here, you can't really tell as well what that reading is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and raise this up and get it so it should be right about eye level. So now you're looking more straight on like you should in the lab. And I think when I'm looking at that, I can see the reading just fine right now. So you've got your 40 line right there, and you can go ahead and get the actual water level reading. Now when I put the metal in the water, you never want to just go ahead and drop something heavy straight down. It can break the bottom. So instead you kind of tilt it, and so when it slides in, it goes in much more slowly and doesn't break, and you have less splashing so you don't lose water and get a bad reading. So we go ahead and put that in. Now we're going to go ahead and scoot this closer again. And to me it looks like, oh, we're not exactly straight on. So I'm going to raise this up just a little bit higher. So again, we can get at eye level. And I think this does a pretty good job. So now you can see what your final reading is. You've got your 40 here, you got your 50 here, you've got your lines in between. So go ahead and get your final reading for your volume after we've put the object in.